You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited for this conversation today. I have the pleasure of having Naseema McElroy with me, who is a published author and founder of Financially Intentional, a platform that's all about personal finance and living life intentionally. So you all know that Naseema, she's our person. And I'm so excited for this conversation because outside of encouraging people to get their finances together, Naseema is a mother, a labor and delivery nurse. And although she made six figures in the past, she struggled with money. Sounds familiar, right? Sounds like my story. Finally realizing she couldn't out-earn her financial ignorance, she knew she had to make some changes. By shifting her mindset around money, being consistent and intentional, she paid off over, listen to this, you guys, $1 million in debt and grew a six-figure net worth in just 3 years. And she did all of this without living a deprived life. And so, Naseema, welcome to the show. I am so excited to talk to you today.
Yes. And we do have the same people. We have similar stories. And so I hope people get a lot out of this because I think we both can speak into those audiences in a way that a lot of people can't.
Absolutely, because experience is the best teacher. So we're not talking theory or giving hypothesis. We are talking about real life stuff, trials and tribulations that we've overcome. And I think that is just so valuable. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning. What was your breaking point? When did you finally decide okay, I can't keep living like this? Where you were just like, I need to change. What happened? Tell us.
It's very interesting because for everybody else, it looked like I was doing really good. I was at the point where I had just bought this brand new house, 5 bedrooms, 5 baths for me and my daughter. I had a really, really good job. I had been there for a long time, had a luxury car, all the things that I call Instagram popping, right? But inside, I just felt so broke. And then I just was like, man, it's really me and my daughter. And if anything were to happen to me, what I didn't have anything for my daughter. And so I was just things have to change. I have to figure out this money thing. And it had been something that had been playing in the back of my mind for a long time. But I was I always put it off. I was in school full time and then I had a baby and then I was just enough is enough. But I thought that the whole money thing was about learning to invest you're on Wall Street, you're on trading places and you're on the floor and you're holding the little cards and you have to learn at that level. And I was just well, now that I have time, I've gotten master's degrees, I know how to learn things, I know how to invest my time in something. Now that I have time, I'm out of school, things are kind of stabilizing. I have time to devote to learn about my finances.
And then that was the turning point, huh?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I shared earlier, you had a great income. You were earning six figures. What do you think kept you financially stuck, even though you had that great income?
I did not have intentionality around my money. I did not know where my money was going. I really did not know month to month, really honestly, how much I was bringing in. I mean, I knew when you get your W-2s, I'm always oh, this is how much I made. But there wasn't that intentionality behind it. And so honestly, I don't know how I spent my money. I know that I was paying a lot of money in student loans. I knew that my house cost a lot of money. But other than that, I really did not know, dollar for dollar on where everything was going.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because when that is the case, it just disappears and you just wonder like where in the world did it all go? And it's always a wake-up call during tax season when you see those W-2s and you're like, where? There's no way I made this much. Like, where is it? Tell me where it went. So I can totally relate to that. And it seems like, you know, it's funny. I was talking to a woman earlier last week, and she was saying, you know, how she's making all this great money. And she said she felt like she was more in control of her money when she was hardly making any than when she was making a lot. And I've met quite a few women. It's like, you know, I felt like because I was making so much money, I didn't need to pay attention to it. I didn't need to quote unquote budget it because I was making so much. So what do you say to that?
I think that that's the reason why making more doesn't solve your money problems. I think we think that if only I can make more, if only I can make more. The whole thing is if you're not intentional now with what you have and have a plan for that money when you make more, it is not going to help your financial situation.
Not at all. And don't fall into the trap. If you're listening to us right now and you feel like, oh my gosh, you know, when I, you know, get my big girl job, when I start making more, I'm not gonna have to worry about money. No, you still need to be intentional, as Naseema is saying, and you still need to make good choices and manage it well, or it's gonna disappear. It's gonna disappear.
And that's the whole thing. And then the other thing is just the lifestyle inflation that goes with along with it. It's like the more you make, the more you feel like you deserve, and the more that you aspire. So then you upgrade your kitchen, or you buy a different house, or you feel like, hey, I can finally afford that new car. And while all of those things are nice, and again, I'm not about the deprivation life, you have to do it intentionally. So you have to like understand and prioritize the things that are important, investing, paying
Mhm.
down debt, making sure that you have some kind of savings. And then you build in those things intentionally, because now you're not spending money on stuff that, like, you go to Target and you see the little $5 section and you're like, oh yeah, I could get that. Those things aren't as important to you because now you have a goal. Like, now I want this extra money to be able to fund this car, and all of those things. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Mhm. Absolutely. I love that. I love that so much. I always say, you know about my do both method. I was recently on your show and we talked about it. But when you really understand, like, okay, what's really important to me? What are my financial goals? And you just make a commitment that that's where your money is going to go, the things that are most important to you and your goals. And then that frees up money for you to meet your goals at that point and to really build up the wealth that you want, you know?
Yeah, I really love that method because a lot of people just think that in order to get good with money, they have to make all these sacrifices. It's really not about sacrificing. It's really just paying attention. That's it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you talk about paying off $1 million in debt. 1 million, that is a lot. How did you even accumulate all of that? And what was your first step to getting all of that debt cleared?
$1 million in debt. Oh, everybody's like $1 million in debt. Like, first of all, why would I listen to somebody who had $1 million in debt? Like, that just seems so financially irresponsible. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit and just kind of give you a little bit of perspective. Um, I live in Northern California. At that time, median home prices were about $700,000. And that's even on the lower end. And then I had over $200,000 in student loans because I have two master's degrees. So just a house and the student loans, you see, you button up against $1 million right there. And a lot of people are just like, but that's your house, it's not debt. Anytime that you owe money to somebody, newsflash, is debt. So there you go. Then there's just the little things that come with lifestyle: braces, cars, you know, uh, paying for stuff for your kids, like school, putting down payments on your house. Like, I took out a loan to do a big down payment for my 403b, things like that. So that's where the $1 million come from. So when you're able to like zoom out, people are just like, oh, okay. But that's what it is.
Well, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because if everybody added up all their stuff, it'll probably be $1 million too.
Or and then some, and then some. And that's the whole problem is that people that are usually like, what? How'd you do that? Haven't taken the time to sit down and figure out what they really owe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we both know that mindset is everything. So when you added up all the debt and you were just like, I'm about to get out of this, what were some of the things you told yourself that gave you the motivation and the stick with itness to not only start, but to keep going until you got to the finish line?
I had to change my circle of influence. And I used to hear that a lot. Like I used to listen to podcasts and I used to hear that a lot. And I used to be like, what does that even mean? And how do I do that? And I was like, do I need new friends? What I needed to do was to change the messages that was coming into me, coming into my mind regularly, right? And so that's like what I listen to and the things that I consume. So as a rule, I don't listen to the news. Um, if I use social media, I only follow people that I aspire to be like. And I was listening to personal finance podcasts and audiobooks. So like at that point, like with all the information that I consumed, I had a PhD level information of the things that I needed to do financially. And so that changed my perspective so that it was just normalized. It was normalized for me. Yes, it's normal that you pay off a whole bunch of debt in a short period of time. And then later it became normal to be a millionaire and to be able to achieve and be on a path to financial independence.
Oh, that is so good. I remember back in the day, I used to just listen to the radio, like R&B radio. And when I, it's just like such a waste because I do a lot of driving. And so when things started to change for me was when I stopped listening to R&B music while I was driving. I still love me some R&B. Come on now. But I don't listen to it while I'm driving. I'm listening to audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube videos that are about what I am working on personally. So anything that I'm working on, mindset, like that's what I feed myself. And to your point about the news, I try to limit that as well. It's so hard because it's like people are like, did you hear about this? And I'm like, oh my Lord, what's going on? But otherwise, I wouldn't know about it. So, yeah, I think just changing what you feed yourself is huge.
But also like celebrating those small wins too. Like every time I hit a milestone, I'll make sure to celebrate it. And also the important thing was I incorporated fun in my budget. Like it wasn't just all deprivation. One of the things that my daughter loved to do was to go to Disneyland. And at that point, I only had one daughter. And so I had a budget and we would go to Disneyland every other month. And that's not an inexpensive thing. I live in Northern California. Disneyland is in Southern California. So that's either an 8 hour drive or an hour flight. So I used to catch a flight, had a hotel. I used to stay at Great Wolf Lodge because you get a double whammy right down the street from Disneyland. And so those trips weren't expensive, but I budgeted so I could pay cash for it and be guilt free. But I was meeting my goals like crazy during that time. And I was just like, man, I didn't even know what was possible. And people were just like, man, I mean, like, did you just ramp up your income? Like at that time I was going through a divorce, so I couldn't work as much. It was like me and my daughter. And so, no, I didn't. It was just really that shift. But that building in that reward system and really celebrating those wins made a big difference.
Hey there. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. I wanted to take a quick pause to share something special. If you're a woman who makes good money, but you feel like you should be further along financially, and money is the one area you just can't seem to figure out, I invite you to book a one-to-one money coaching consultation with me. During this call, I'll design a personalized 3-part plan specifically for you so that you can start making real financial progress quickly if you decide to join me in my one-to-one money coaching program. To book your consultation, simply visit jermainefoley.com/consult. That's Jermaine with a G, foley.com/consult, or click the link in the show notes to sign up. Now let's get back to the episode. Yes, it's just like, I can't tell you how many people I talk to that try to go that, gung ho, buckle down approach, and they just burn out and they never get to the finish line. Right. And so as humans, we have very limited willpower. Like we all have some willpower. So we can do anything for a limited amount of time. But when you have big goals, like you had to pay off $1 million worth of debt, or for me, I had a big goal of paying off $200,000 worth of debt. Like you need to give yourself some breathing room to live while you're doing that. And I love that you say that. So speaking of your daughter, and now you have 3 daughters, how are you thinking about building wealth with them in mind? What are some things you're doing to set them up to be financially savvy young ladies?
So when I paid off my debt, I was like, okay, I need to start investing aggressively because I want to be able to not have to work, to make work optional. And I was just like, but I want to make sure that my kids are set up. And so the first thing that I did was to set up a 529 for my daughter. And I was working with a lady called Hillary Hendershot. She's a CFP. And I was in a wealth mastermind with her. And she was just like, you know what? If you want to do a 529, I think it's great. I think that you should set a goal to do 100,000 and then whatever else you'll cash flow that. And so that was my first investment for my kids. I set up her 529 to put $100,000 in it. And sometimes I have a steady amount that I invest every month. There was other times I didn't invest, and there was other times where I put big windfalls in there. So I did that. Then a couple of years ago, I started doing a brokerage account for them because they were at the point where they were understanding how to be consumers and buy things and asking for these things. And I was like, I need to shift their mindset for them to be owners. And so I set up a brokerage account for them on a platform that's super easy for them to use, because instead of just like Tesla, like TSLA, it would be like a Tesla symbol, and they can recognize that. They know how to recognize McDonald's signs. And so what I would do is have them pick their individual stocks. And this is the only time I invest in individual stocks, but pick their individual stocks of the companies that they like. Every month I would give them a set amount, whether it's like a $20 to $100, pick the individual stocks. And, it was the 2 of them, and then they competed on who had the highest returns at the end of the month based on the stock. So I gamified it for them, and I made them understand that not only can you buy things from these people, but now you can own these companies. And so that was the second account that I set up for them. And then once they started really working in my business, with my business platform started taking off, and I started doing brand collaborations where I was getting paid, I incorporated them in the videos that I was doing. And so I could pay them as child actors and part of my business. And having that earned income, they were able to start setting up retirement accounts. And so I set up Roth IRAs for them where and that's like maybe max $1,500 a year I put aside for them. So they have their 529s, they have their brokerage accounts, and then they have their retirement accounts.
Oh, yes. They're going to be very, very money savvy. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Congratulations on doing that with your kids.
Thank you. My oldest daughter crossed 6 figures when she turned 10. So she has over $100,000 in her investment accounts now. That 529 really took off. That's like 80% of it.
Listen, I have one son in college right now. Thank God for the 529. We weren't able to get all of it in there because, we started later and we had to clean up our own stuff. But thank God for it because it has really helped. And then I have another one that's going to college next year and he's got his money. And so again, it won't cover it all. We cash flow some of it, but it's there. I'm so glad we did it.
Yeah, a lot of people 99% of people have nothing. So you're doing really, really well.
Yes. And that was really my motivation, was like, okay, because for us, it was the student loans that were just like out of control. And I just felt so burdened by them. And so my goal was like, okay, my kids will not have student loan debt. And so that's what we're doing right now. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, the student loans were definitely the thing for me too.
Yes, yes, big time. Okay, so you have been through bankruptcy and divorce, two big major life changes that could have really, made anyone want to just throw their hands up in the air and give up. What helped you to keep going?
Um, I just know that all of those things in life, like there's failures, right? You're not living if you're not failing. So I just everything I take those lessons and I fail forward and I just keep on using the things that I learned in those situations to build upon to make me a better person. And now it's not just about me, it's about my daughters. So I want to exemplify the resilience and like getting through hard times and still being who you're destined to be.
Mhm. I love that so much. You are truly, truly an example of what's possible. And it's always nice to hear from people who have been through things. Like I started this conversation, some financial experts, they haven't really been through much. They're just kind of going from advice that they heard about, that they learned about, and they're sharing it, but they haven't walked the walk, right? And you have. And so thank you so much for being transparent and sharing all that you have with us today. So if someone is listening right now that feels like, you know what, Naseema can do it, Jermaine can do it, but I don't think I can. I'm just too far gone. What would you say to her?
I would say it's possible for you. It's just putting one foot in front of the other. The thing is that first of all, you have to believe that it's possible for you. And then the next thing is that you don't have to have it all figured out. It's really about taking those first steps. It's really about accepting that even in taking those steps, you're not going to do everything perfect. You're going to have some mistakes. But the most important thing is to keep on going. But overall, like you are worthy. You can. If we can do it, you can definitely do it. You can listen to our stories and see what things you can avoid so that maybe you can streamline the process, but you are worthy.
Absolutely. And if anyone's listening to this conversation and they maybe feel that way, I don't think you're listening to this by chance.
Yes.
Right? This was meant for you to hear so that you can know, like, oh my gosh, if these ladies can overcome the things that they overcame, why not me? And if it's not really easy for you to believe that you can do it, put a maybe in front of it. Like, maybe I can do it. And just use that. It'll make you feel a little bit more motivated. Like, maybe I can do it. And put that one foot in front of the other, just like Naseema said. So, Naseema, how can people stay connected to you if they want to be in your kind of circle? They want to hear more from you. They want to stay connected. What's the best way to do that?
So I definitely want to be in your circle of influence. So what you need to do is the best place is just follow me on at financially intentional on Instagram. And then from there, you can figure out where I'm at. Also, listening to the Financially Intentional podcast. I have over 200, almost 300 episodes there. If you just want to binge that. But yeah, financially intentional on Instagram, financially intentional podcast, and those will lead you to the other places you can hang out with me. But I'm very transparent, slide in the DMs. I'm very responsive. So yeah, check me out.
Check her out. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say before we end our conversation?
I just want to for people out there that are like on the fence or don't believe, like I said, like change your circle of influence, like change those messages that are coming into you that you're receiving. And I'm telling you, before you know it, you'll think it's possible for you.
Absolutely. And it might take some repetition of listening to it,
Hmm.
daily. And maybe, 60 days later, you might be like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to think differently. I'm starting to handle my money a little differently. So you will definitely reap the results, but don't rush it. Just make a decision that
Yeah.
I'm going to change what I listen to in the car from now on. So that's a great first step.
Hmm.
That's a great
Yeah.
first step.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Naseema. I really appreciate you being here today. And everyone else, I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.